بالبراءة من أعدائكم، وأن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثار مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم، وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يؤتيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يؤتي مصابا بمصيبتي، مصيبة ما عظمها وعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع أهل السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا من تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الإكباد اللئين ابن اللئين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله، في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم الآن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم لعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم، وبالمولاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن الإصابة التي جاحدت الحسين وشايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أول ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لن يزيد خامسا، ولن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرة وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مسابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذي بذلوا محجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوات محمد وآل محمد.
صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت: له أوئيدك بالله يا أبتاه من الثؤف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به، فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله، فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، فقل وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وثي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي يا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بتر في الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وقثتي وحمتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عادهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فأجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك عليها وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس طهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مديحة ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي وما تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة معدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى، يقرئك السلام ويخطك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذنوا لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محفل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محفل أهل الأرض وفيه جميع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا كشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وسوئدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فزوا وسوئدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. صلوات
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، ناز ہر دو جہاں شہ کے لشکر میں ہیں، سارے شیر زیاں شہ کے لشکر میں ہیں، کتنے ابرو کماں شہ کے لشکر میں ہیں، کیسے کیسے جوان شہ کے لشکر میں ہیں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، کس نے شہ سے بلاؤں کو ٹالا نہیں، خود کو دشمن کی فوجوں میں ڈالا نہیں، کون ہے جو کہ گھر کا اجالا نہیں، کون ہے جس کو زینب نے پالا نہیں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، کون ہے جاں کو جس نے وارا نہیں، کون ہے جو کہ آنکھوں کا تارا نہیں، کون ہے جو شہیدی کا پیارا نہیں، کس نے گھوڑے سے گر کر پکارا نہیں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، کس نے زخم سنا دل پہ کھایا نہیں، کس نے سینے کو چھلنی بنایا نہیں، کس کے لاشے کو شہ نے اٹھایا نہیں، ہاتھ لیکن بہن نے بٹایا نہیں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، خاک تیغ گرے ان میں کیا کیا حسین لاش پہ جن کی تنہا گئے شاہدین، کانپ اٹھا فلک اور لرزی زمین، بیبیاں پھر بھی خیمے سے نکلی نہیں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، رن میں ہر ایک ساتھ شیریں زباں، جس کے لہجے پہ داؤد بھی دے دے جاں، ان میں جس کو بھی کہتے شہ انس و جاں، صبح عاشور وہ بڑھ کے دیتا اذاں، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے، اس جوان کی مگر بات ہی اور ہے۔ بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔ بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ چھنتے ہیں تو چھن جائے بلا سے میرے گوہر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ مہلت کی یہ شب جاتی ہے آہستہ برابر، دن نکلے گا کیوں کر، دن نکلے گا کیوں کر۔ بابا کی طرف سے مجھے رہتا ہے بہت ڈر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، لینے کے لیے آتا ہے لشکر پس لشکر، بابا کا میرے سر، بابا کا میرے سر۔ واللہ اجرتا ہے اجر جائے برا گھر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بابا کی ضمانت میں حرم کی ہے جو حرمات، پردہ ہے سلامت، پردہ ہے سلامت۔ بابا کو جو کچھ ہو گیا چھن جائے گی چادر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بچی شب عاشور، بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ خنجر لیے جب شہ کی طرف شمر بھرے گا اور ذبح کرے گا، اور ذبح کرے گا۔ خنجر لیے شہ کی طرف شمر بھرے گا اور ذبح کرے گا، گزر جائے نیا دست گھری کیا بچی کے دل پر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بچی شب عاشور دعا کرتی تھی رو کر، بابا کو نہ کچھ ہو۔ بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد. ابا صالح التماس دعا، هر کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. نجف رفتی، کاظمین رفتی، کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. ابا صالح التماس دعا، هر کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. مدینه رفتی به پابوسه، قبر پیغمبر مادرت زهرا. به دیدار قبر بی شمعه مجتبی رفتی یاد ما هم باش. بغل کردی قبر مادر را، جای ما هم او را زیارت کن. به دیدار نینوا رفتی، کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. ابا صالح التماس دعا، هر کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. زیارت نامه که میخوانی بر مزار آن تربت خاموش. به دیدار قبر بی شمعه مجتبی رفتی یاد ما هم باش. شب جمعه کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم کن چون زدی بوسه. کنار قبر ابوالفضل با وفا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. ابا صالح التماس دعا، هر کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. مدینه رفتی به پابوسه، قبر پیغمبر مادرت زهرا. به دیدار قبر مخفی از کوچه ها رفتی یاد ما هم باش. بغل کردی قبر مادر را، جای ما هم او را زیارت کن. به دیدار نینوا رفتی، کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. ابا صالح التماس دعا، هر کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. زیارت نامه که میخوانی بر مزار آن تربت خاموش. به دیدار قبر بی شمعه مجتبی رفتی یاد ما هم باش. شب جمعه کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم کن چون زدی بوسه کنار قبر ابوالفضل با وفا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. ابا صالح التماس دعا ار کجا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. نجف رفتی کاظمین رفتی کربلا رفتی یاد ما هم باش. صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد.
محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات. ہائے خدا نے جب ملک الموت کو یہ اذن دیا کہ روح حضرت سرور نکال کر لے آ، رہے خیال کے شبیر کو نہ ہو ایذا. حسین پہلے ہی زخموں سے چور چور ہوا، ملک پکارا یہ مجھ سے نہ ہو سکے گا خدا. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین، بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین، بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے پھر ان آنکھوں پہ ڈھاؤں ستم یہ کیا ہے ضرور، بچھڑ کے جو علی اکبر سے ہو گئے بے نور. ندائی آئی دہن سے نکال جان حضور، کہا دہن میں تو کانٹے پڑے ہیں رب غفور. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین، ہے بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ندائے آئی کہ گردن سے کھینچ جائیں کی، کہا میں کیا کہوں گردن پہ چل رہی ہے چھری. چھری پکڑ کے چلائی ہے کوئی بی بی، نہ ذبح کر میرے بچے کو میں دعا دوں گی. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین، بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین. ہائے ندائے آئی کہ مظلومیت کے رتبہ شناس، کمر سے کھینچ لے قبض کعبے کی جانب وسواس. کہا ملک نے تڑپ کر بدرد و حسرت و یاس، کمر تو ٹوٹ گئی جب سے مر گئے عباس. میں کس طرح سے نکالوں بدن سے جان حسین بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین بہت ہی سخت ہے یا رب یہ امتحان حسین ہائے اسے یہ حکم ہو پر فکر ہے یہ اے یزدان ہر ایک جزو ہے زخمی لگاؤ ہاتھ کہاں خدا پکارا یہ مشکل کریں گے ہم آسان نہ تو نکال میرے عاشق غریب کی جان میں خود نکال رہا ہوں بدن سے جان حسین کہ ختم ہونے کو اب ہے یہ امتحان حسین کہ ختم ہونے کو ہے اب ہے یہ امتحان حسین محمد وآل محمد صاحب
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل ای حسین که همه خلایق همگی غمخوار توست نظر جمله به سوی حرم دلبر توست کربلای تو کنه زنده دل افسرده اگه دل جای تو خلق جهان یاوری توست زنده گشتی به دو عالم شده نابود ادو دل شده زنده و روحش دل انبر توست بود از بر تو یاران وفادار حسین همچو عباس تو را یاور با صدق و صفا آنکه در بحر وفا خود دور و یاور توست نور چشم همه اهل حرم اسخر توست محمد و آل محمد صلوات اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
Assalamu everyone. Just a quick reminder is that Massoumi was looking for donations, and as a youth, it's our job to give back. And he's passing around a form right now. It's ACH form. If you yourself don't have a bank account, if your parents do or uncle or aunt, make sure you pass information to them. As friends and family, you donate little as $14 a month, which is about 50 cents a day. So not asking for much. As Massoumi, like I said, we need donations to help fund the masjid, and hopefully with the donations you can keep doing programs like this every year. So thank you.
محمد صلوات
Just one request before we call Muharram Salah. I'll request all my brothers to move up forward because it's a little wet. Please move up forward.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد. The loud salam, please help me to invite Sheikh Ali Massoumi to the member. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
نعرہ تکبیر
Allahu Akbar.
نعرہ رسالت
Ya Rasulullah.
نعرہ حیدری بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بغية الله في الأرضين حجة ابن الحسن العسكري عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف واللعن الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. قال جبرائيل لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: يا محمد عش ما شئت فإنك ميت، واحبب ما شئت فإنك ملاقيه، واحبب ما شئت فإنك مفارقه، وافعل ما شئت فإنك ملاقيه. The Prophet of Islam asked Jibreel, one of the highest ranking angels, if not the highest ranking angel, for advice. Before I recite the hadith in English, I want to mention something that we've been mentioning the nights before, which is to do with humbleness and putting aside arrogance. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and his household is the reason for the creation of earth, the reason for the creation of the angels and everything that exists. That being said, he seeks advice from Jibreel. Jibreel doesn't have anything that the Prophet doesn't have, doesn't know anything that the Prophet does not know. So why does the Prophet ask him for advice? Listen carefully here. When you seek advice from someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that they must be more knowledgeable than you, or they must be higher than you in knowledge, or wiser than you. It can be a younger person advising you. It can be someone less knowledgeable advising you. But to go to someone that is less knowledgeable, less wise than you for advice shows the humility of the Prophet, peace be upon him. At the beginning, Jibreel refused. He said, who am I to give you advice? I think it was 3 times that the Prophet asked, and then Jibreel agreed. Jibreel agreed to give the Prophet advice. Now look at who's giving who advice. So look at the significance of it. Jibreel giving the Prophet advice. So take one word by word of this and try to memorize it. He said, Ya Muhammad, ish ma shi't. Ish ma shi't. Live however you like. فإنك ميت. Live however you like because you are dead. Meaning that you can live this dunya in any fashion that you like and enjoy dunya, enjoy everything that it will give you, the pleasures, the ups, the downs. But just remember that around the corner is death. If you remember that this death is upon you, then you can live however you like. The mistakes that we make in life is because we forget death. If we remember death, we would not make mistakes. عِشْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ. Live however you like. Just don't forget death. And don't forget death in your sadness and happiness. Why? Because if you're happy, then the memory of death will bring you back to reality, that it's short-lived. If you're sad, then once again it's short-lived. Very soon the sadness will go away. How many of you have been sad so much that you didn't want to live anymore? Sometimes a human being comes to a point where they don't want to be alive anymore, but it goes away. One of the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows on a mu'min is the blessing of nisyan, which is forgetfulness. The fact that we forget things is a blessing. If we remember things, then the pain will be so difficult, you wouldn't be able to live. So whether you're up or down, whether you're poor or rich, whether you're happy or sad, whether you're sick or healthy, remember that death is around the corner and you'll be okay. He says, Ya Muhammad, ahbib ma shi't, فَإِنَّكَ مُفَارَتَهُ. Love everything that you have. It's okay to love things. It's okay to love your wife, your children, your husband, your mother, father, even materialistic things. Love your clothes, love your cars, your houses, your bank balance. It's okay. In one condition, that you will leave it. Mufaraqah means you will part ways with it. You might spend 24 hours with your loved ones, but when it comes to the grave, they will say goodbye. In fact, there's a hadith. It says that 3 things will come to you and talk to you when you're about to die. 3 things will talk to you when you're about to die. 1, your wealth. All the wealth that you accumulated in dunya, it will talk to you in your last moment. What will death tell you? Your wealth will tell you at the time of your death that regardless of what you accumulated, you will take one thing from me, and that's the kafan. The cloth in which they wrap you around is the only thing that you will take from me. Whether you're a billionaire or whether you're poor, this is all you're taking. Your family will say, we are with you until your grave. Once we bury you, we leave you, we'll go back home. Your loved ones are with you until the grave. After the grave, they leave you. And the third thing is your a'mal, your deeds. Your deeds tell you that we are with you wherever you go. So your wealth will tell you that you're taking kafan with you only. Your loved ones will say we're with you to the grave. But your a'mal, your deeds will say that after this step, everywhere you go, even in heaven, we're with you. So you decide what you want to take with you. Because you can't take your family, you can't take your wealth, but your deeds you can take with you. So the hadith says that love everything, it's okay. It's okay to have dunya. As long as you remember this point, which is, you will leave it. You will part ways with everything that you have. So when you're in trials and tribulations in your life, don't be sad, because these trials and tribulations are what makes you a better person. Makes you a stronger person. You come out the other side of it far stronger than you began with. And the third one is افعل ما شئت فإنك ملاقي. Do whatever you like. If'al means do whatever you like. One condition. Remember that whatever you do, you will see it. The consequence of every action will be in front of you. If you remember that, then you do what you like. Every single action that you take has a reaction. It has a reaction in dunya, is a reaction in akhirah. You do khair, khair will come to you. You do shar, shar will come to you. You dig a hole for someone to fall into, you'll fall into yourself. Someone narrated a story, I don't know how true the story is, but it's an interesting one. He said that someone had problems with their wife. And he wanted to kill his wife. By the way, something to remember, there's a hadith that says there is one dua for a man that will never be given. There is one hajat for a man that will never be given, and that's the death for the wife. A man who prays for his wife to die, Allah will not give his dua. And the hadith says the reason is Allah has put divorce in the hands of the man. There's no need to pray for her to die. He can divorce her and let her go. In any case, he went to someone and he said, what do you think I should do? Now that person wasn't a good person. Why? He gave him bad advice. He says in Islam, and it's true, one of the things that no one can judge you for or no one can punish you for is, God forbid, if you find your wife with someone else, you can kill them both. So bring a young looking man, a good looking man, kill the man and put it next to your wife that you've killed. And anyone comes, you say, you know what, this is what I saw them and I killed them because of this. And no one can say why. And it says he did this. The friend who gave the advice saw that that night his son did not come home. Until the morning he became very worried. He went looking for his son until he got to the house of this friend. He saw that his son was the person who this person murdered and put next to his wife. The world works in a circular way. You dig something for someone, you fall into it yourself. The hadith says, Man hafara bi'rin, whoever digs a well, li'akhih faqad waqa'a fih. Whoever digs a well for their friend to fall into, they will fall into the well themselves. And whoever gives a helping hand to the mu'min brother or sister, then someone else will give them a helping hand. The world is a circular motion. What you do comes around to you. Maybe not now, maybe in 20 years, 30 years. But eventually it comes back. So be careful what you want. And always want khair for other people. Pray for good things for other people. Never have jealousy for other people. You see someone that has nice things, may Allah give them more. They have 10 houses, inshallah they have 100 houses. They have a nice car, inshallah they get 10 houses. What is it to you if they have a nice car? It's not taken from your wages, it's not taken for your inheritance. They have a nice clothes, may Allah give them 1,000 times more. Because a jealous person only hurts themselves. Because they despise everyone else and they don't go forward in life. The will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something that will always be. Remember this. There is such a thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overrules everything. If He wills something to be, then it will be. إذا أراد شيئا يقول له كن فيكون. So instead of knocking on the doors of the Creator, we go and knock on the doors of the created. We go knocking on the doors of the people who have wealth or power or managers or whatever they are. We forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says everything is in my hands, and yet we go to the created. We leave Allah, we go to Abdullah. What does the Abd of Allah have in their hands? Nothing. If Allah does not will it, nothing will come to you. The Prophet tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, يا علي إذا رأيت الناس يتوسلون بالمخلوق أنت توسل بالخالق. إذا رأيت الناس, if you see people going and knocking on the doors of this person, that person for assistance, You go to the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Creator. إذا رأيت الناس يشتغلون بعيوب الناس أنت اشتغل بعيوب نفسك. If you see people constantly bickering about other people's faults, did you see what they were wearing? Did you see their hijab? Did you see their makeup? Did you see their house? Did you see their not pray? Did you see their not fast? If you see people doing this, forget them. You work on yourself. You work on your own faults. Because if you talk about other people, you will take their sins. And what good you've done will go to them. But if you think about yourself and your own faults, you'll pick yourself up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a power that can change everything within a second. And nothing can change the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We think that we have power. We think things in our hands. It's because of what we've been saying for the last 5 nights. Shaitan makes you think that you have power, but you don't have power. Shaitan himself has limited power. Fir'aun, a person, if you read in history, thought that he had powers. And he claimed to be God. He says one day they asked him to show some of his powers. They asked him to take some grapes and change it into gold. It's an easy thing for God, no? They asked Pharaoh, they said, take these grapes and change it into gold. For God is something simple to change the something to something else. The state of something is the state of something else. Pharaoh was thinking what to do. He went into the room, closed the door, thinking, how do I do this? Because he knows he has no power. And they say a knock came on the door. Pharaoh said, who is it? The person behind this door said, what kind of God doesn't know who's behind the door? If you're God, surely you know who's behind the door. Why are you asking? Pharaoh became angry. He opened the door. He said, who are you? Did you speak to me like this? He said, I'm Shaitan. I've come to help you. But I want to tell you something, that this is very easy. He blew on the grapes and the grapes became gold. So the power of Shaitan, this much is very easy. Now listen to this. Shaitan said to him that, Ya Fir'aun, I have these powers, but I never once thought to claim that I'm God. How is it that you thought you could claim that you're God? This is the arrogance of a being. It becomes worse than Shaitan. And whoever goes the wrong path against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Shaitan will help him. That's why you see some evil people very powerful, because Shaitan is with them. The army of Shaitan is with them. But this is temporary. Haqq will always win. If you endure the temporary life, the temporary hardship, the sweet taste of Haqq will come to you eventually. It's knowing what's halal and what's haram. It's knowing what is truly Haqq and what is truly batil that's difficult. You know, at the time when we mentioned the other day, I think yesterday we talked about Aqil ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. One of his attributes was his Nassar. That's why Amir al-Mu'minin went to him to find him a wife after Fatima al-Zahra, and he found him al-Banin. One day he asked Amir al-Mu'minin to come for lunch at the time when the Khilafah was in his hands with regards to the political things and money and so forth after Uthman. Aqil said that I have these children and very little money. Can you allow me to have more than what is my current stipend per month? You've heard the story. Amir al-Mu'minin took a hot rod of iron towards the hand of Aqil. Aqil screamed from the pain from the fire without it touching, but when he got close, it became painful. Amir al-Mu'minin said, "Oh brother, you cannot take the pain of fire being close to you, yet you want me to go into fire and pay the price for you getting more than everyone else." Baytul Mal is for everybody, whether you're my brother, you're my cousin, you're my uncle, it makes no difference. Everyone gets the same amount. Muawiyah heard of this. Muawiyah found out that Aqil had asked for more money and Amir al-Mu'minin had done this. He asked Aqil to come over. He told Aqil that just for your troubles that you've come here, I'm going to give you 50,000 gold coins. Aqil was asking for something like 5 gold coins from Amir al-Mu'minin. He was being given 50,000. Aqil said, "I don't want this money." Muawiyah said that this will change your life. Aqil said, "I don't want this money in my life." Muawiyah said, "Why is it that you refuse money from me and you take it from Amir al-Mu'minin?" He said, "Because I see haqq in him and I see batil in you. I see that Allah is with Ali and shaitan is with you. And I don't want to feed my children this money." He said to Aqil, "Aqil, you are Nassab. What do you think of Amr ibn As, his second in command?" He told him. And then he said, "What do you think of me?" Aqil said, "I would not answer." Muawiyah said that in front of everybody, "I promise that I will not harm you. Tell me what you think of me." He says that Aqil named a female name. I think Halila was her name. Muawiyah said, "What is this?" He said, "That's what I'll say. Find out from the people that know Nasab what that means." When he left, Muawiyah asked around, "What is it that Aqil was mentioning?" A lady came and said that this was a lady that was famous in the city where she had a flag at her house, famous for bad things. So Muawiyah said, "What has that got to do with me?" The lady said, "That's your grandmother." Muawiyah, the son of who? Abu Sufyan. Hind. His son, Yazid. And yet people followed him instead of Ali. People followed him instead of Hussein. Every day you have haqq and batil to choose from. Aqil could have taken the 50,000 and been very happy on the surface of it, but he would have lost his akhirah. Every day we have these tests, bigger or smaller. But remember, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that prevails. What Allah wills will prevail. This is something that Imam Hussein said over and over again. Fir'aun, which we just mentioned, thought that he could go against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fir'aun, you read history, you read the Quran. When he had a dream, he brought the people that interpret dreams. They told them that a boy will be born that will take away your khilafah from you, that will replace you. Fir'aun, thinking that he can go against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, gave the orders to kill every woman that was pregnant and every boy that was born. Read the history. Read how many thousands of people were killed so that no boy would grow up to go against Fir'aun. These are things to wake me and you up to the reality of who has power. What happened to Musa alayhi salam? How did he survive? The Quran said that Musa's mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to her, told her what to do. When the soldiers came, she was so frightened, she put the baby in the tanur, in the place where they bake bread in fire. When the soldiers went, the baby was fine. When the soldiers found out that the baby was born in that house, Allah told her to put him in a box, in a wooden box, and throw him into the river. Now, which mother can do this? She put him in a small box and put him into the river. Now, where would he be safe? Where could Musa possibly grow up and be safe from the soldiers that are killing every boy that exists? But the house of Pharaoh himself. The wife of Pharaoh picks out the baby from the water. The wife of Pharaoh takes care of the baby. The only place that the soldiers cannot kill is the house of Pharaoh. His own wife was someone that was with haqq. In some narrations it said that at the end of her life they put stones on her chest in order for her to stop saying La ilaha illallah, and she would not. She kept on saying La ilaha illallah until she died. So this baby comes to the house of Pharaoh. Now they need someone to give her milk, give the baby milk. Every lady that comes, either the baby will not accept or she doesn't have milk. Allah tells the mother of Musa, we told you we'd give your son back to you safely. Go to the house of Pharaoh. The mother of Musa goes to the house of Pharaoh and sees that Musa is healthy and well. As soon as she picks up the baby takes onto the chest of the mother and begins to drink milk. I'm not a mother, and I don't know what a mother feels when she breastfeeds a child. But can you imagine the love and affection and the happiness that she had when she saw her son healthy, being able to drink from her milk? Tonight is the night of Ashura. It's the night when the 6-month-old baby of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam wanted to drink some milk from the mother. As much as he tried, the mother had no milk. Everybody on the night of Ashura was busy doing something. If you walked around the tents in Karbala on the night of Ashura, that image itself would be enough to make you die from sadness and grief. Just one of the tents was the tent of Ali al-Asghar. Another tent was the women of Bani Hashim, who had to say their goodbyes to their sons. You had Ramle, you had Rubab, you had Zainab salamullah alayha. One narration says that Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam looked for Imam Hussein on the night of Ashura. And as he searched for Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, he could not find him. He went to each tent. The tent of Bani Hashim, he was not there. The tent of Zainab salamullah alayha, he's not there. The tent of Ashab and Ansar, he's not there. Until he saw that Imam Hussein was sitting on the ground with his sword out, cutting the thorns on the ground. He said, Ya Aba Abdullah, what is it that you're doing? If something needs to be done, let us do it. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam replied, these are the thorns that will go into the bare feet of my children tomorrow. I'm taking them out the ground, so tomorrow when they burn the tents of my children, of my Ahlul Bayt, the children's feet will not go onto these thorns. On the day of Ashura, every minute that passed was like hours. You heard in the nights before how each one of the ashab fought a brave fight, and each one gave hope to the other person, such as Muslim ibn Awsajah giving hope to Habib ibn Madahir. The love of these men. Muslim ibn Awsajah says to Habib, oh Habib, until I'm alive, don't worry about Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Habib is 73, 75 years old. Habib says, oh Muslim, until I have blood in my veins, don't worry about Zainab salamullah alayha. But on the day of Ashura, Abu Abdullah alayhi salam comes out of his tent. He shouts out, is there anyone to assist the son of Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha? هل من ناصر ينصرنا؟ شاید بعضی ها فارسی صحبت میکنن، چند کلمه فارسی هم بگیم. خیلی عجیبه. روز عاشورا آخرین لحظات که شد، ابو عبدالله علیه السلام زره نپوشید، شمشیر به دست نگرفت، علی اصغرش رو به دست گرفت، عمامه رسول الله رو بر سر گذاشت، عبای رسول الله رو بر سر گذاشت، این قنداقه 6 ماهه رو بر دست گرفت. He wanted to show the world that I'm not here to fight. If I wanted to fight, I would come out with my sword. Every one of Bani Hashim is dead. Every one of the Ansar is dead. He said to Zainab salamullah alayha, nawaluni waladi as-saghir Abdullah al-Radi. Ya qawm, إن كان هناك ذنب للكبار ما ذنب الصغار. اگر گناهی ما داشتیم، گناه این بچه 6 ماهه چیست؟ Take him and give him water. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam raises his hands to show that he's holding a baby. At this point, instead of taking the baby and giving him water, there is a discussion between the enemies. What do? Harmal al-Mal'un takes out an arrow and points it towards the neck of this baby. In tire se sho'be anjam bargardan in bache. The neck of the baby was ripped open. In some of the narrations it said the baby started to move like a fish out of water. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam took the blood from Ali al-Asghar, threw it onto the skies. الرواية تقول أنه لم تنزل قطرة واحدة من الدم إلى الأرض, showing that the dam of this baby was pure, that the skies took all the blood, not a single drop fell onto the ground. أيها الناس, the only shaheed that was buried was Ali al-Asghar. Some have said that Hussein alayhi salam buried Ali Asghar for two reasons. One, that his mother could not bear to see the sight of Ali Asghar under the feet of the horses on the Yawm al-Hajj. Or was it that Ali al-Asghar could not bear to have his head beheaded onto the spears on Yawm al-Ashura because his mother could not bear to see the sight? But not long after this, Abu Abdullah alayhi salam finds himself all alone on the plain of Ashura. His 6-month-old son is buried. Now there is no hope anymore. He goes onto the battlefield all alone. He fights a brave fight. When he says, Ana Hussein ibn Ali, they say, Ya Nas, O people, this is the person for whose father killed our fathers. This is the son of Ali who killed our grandfathers, our uncles. Let's take our revenge on Hussein. They come with their spears, they come with their arrows, they come with their stones. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam on the Dhuhr of Ashura, on the plain of Karbala, is all alone, and they come with him with everything that they have. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Remember the hajat that you have, the hajat al-mu'minin mu'minat, and recite this ayah al-kareemah 5 times. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. اللهم اسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. Ya Allah, give the hajat of the mu'mineen and the mu'minat. Forgive all our sins for the tears that we have shed for Abdullah alayhi salam. Ya Allah, give shafa to all the sick people that have asked for our du'as. Ya Allah, forgive the marhumeen of these majalis that used to be here on the years before, no longer with us. Ya Allah, allow us to be at these majalis and serve Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam year after year, inshaAllah. Ya Allah, allow us to be of those who Imam Hussein comes to our grave the first night of our death. Ya Allah, allow our children and our grandchildren to be in the path of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, inshaAllah. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Ya Hussein.
So I'll be reciting an Nauha in English, and it's about the tragedy of Karbala from the perspective of Hazrat Zainab sallallahu alayha, as she tells her mother, Hazrat Fatima sallallahu alayha. Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Look ya Zahra, look ya Zahra, when Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra, go back, oh mother, they've killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra, when Fatima came to Karbala. Everybody, when Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra, go back, oh mother, you killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. When the night fell on the desert campaign, a lonely voice was heard in morning. Then she looked and saw someone approaching, one who would join her in her grieving. She had come to see her progeny and what had become of their destiny. But she could not let her to go closer. She did not want her to really see. I do not want you to go further. You will only see pain and horror. Body with no head, 72 dead. Body with no head, 72 dead. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, you killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. Before you were born, my loving daughter, I was shown this by your grandfather. He told me what was to be for my son, and how it would be a tragedy. My brother told me of this as well. I knew what was to become of me. But even then I could not stand witness when I saw Sheikh walking to him. My mother, you cannot bear to see what they did to the broken body. Arrow in his heart, liver ripped apart. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, you killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look ya Zahra. Oh mother, when he stood and addressed the people who had now turned on him, he cried and shed the bitterest of tears. I never saw such a thing from him. My brother, you who define what is brave, how can I stand to see you crying? I cry not for what shall happen to us, but that the cause of the doom is me. Even in this final moment, he could only think of their torment. How could they kill him? He came to help them. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, to kill my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Then her mother's eyes began to wander. Another body she had to see. A new grave had been dug in the morning. A young infant and it was buried. They lay the young Qasim, son of Hassan, and next to him the older Ali. But it was Ali as she came to, the one they killed in his father's arm. What was the sin of this poor child? What was the sin of this poor child? When the arrow hit, he had wailed. He cried, I'm thirsty, had there no mercy. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. When Fatima came to Karbala, Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Go back, oh mother, you killed my brother. Zainab said, do not look, Ya Zahra. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
जबरदा सर से चनी मैं सदा देती रही तू नाया बाजी जबरदा सर से चनी मैं सदा देती रही तू नाया बाजी आलिम ने कहा और जिंदा ने कहा ये बहन कैदी हुई तू नाया बाजी जबरदा सर से चनी मैं सदा देती रही तू नाया बाजी हमको पानी ना मिले तेरी खुशबू जो रहे तेरे बाजू ना कटे चाहे मशकी दे ये मगर हो ना सका तेरे बाजू है जुदा मुझ पे है जश्न या नबी तू नाया बाजी जबरदा सर से चनी मैं सदा देती रही तू नाया बाजी खूब मैं था सजन तुझसे आबाद था घर है बरहना मेरा सर क्या नहीं तुझको खबर ए अलमदार वफा इस बहन को बाखुदा तुझ सिदारस्ती भरी मुनाया बाजी कब्रदा सर सचनी मैं सदा देती रही मुनाया बाजी आ गई शाम आलम लुट गए हैं हरम ईद पर जलती हुई हो गया ठंडा आलम वर्षा देने के लिए मुझसे मिलने के लिए आ गए बाबा नी पुनाया बाजी जब सर सेक्शनी मैं सदा देखती रही पुनाया बाजी
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein.
To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Tribulations in this land of grief.
Karbala, Karbala,
Tribulations in this land of grief. Salutations will bring me relief. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. We'll add our tears to the Euphrates, lamentations flowing with such ease. This matam will reverberate.
Karbala, Karbala,
This matam will reverberate. This tragedy we must narrate. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Until my death, Ya Hussein, I'll say and cry for Hussein on Judgment Day. For on those plains we heard your call.
Karbala, Karbala,
For on those plains we heard your call. You saved Islam for us all. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Harbun liman harabahum wa silmun liman salamahum. In whom we were left to wait evening.
Karbala,
In whom we were left to weighty things. To the Ahlul Bayt we'll always cling. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Peace be on you, Ya Abdullah, the grandson of Rasulullah. قد قتل الحسين بكربلا.
Karbala, Karbala,
قد ذبح الحسين بكربلا. We cry for your suffering, O Fatima. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. To Karbala I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Until my death, Ya Hussein, I'll say and cry for Hussein on Judgment Day. For on those plains we heard your call.
Karbala, Karbala,
For on those plains we heard your call. You saved Islam for us all. To Karbala
I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow to Karbala. I yearn to go to lament and show my sorrow. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
کو جاتے
ہوئے سر جھکائے ہوئے شہ نے رو کر کہا الوداع 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 الوداع. رن کو جاتے ہوئے سر جھکائے ہوئے شہ نے رو کر کہا الوداع 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 الوداع. آیا وقت سفر ہے بہن آج ہم ہو رہے ہیں جدا. الوداع 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 الوداع. رن کو جاتے ہوئے سر جھکائے ہوئے شہ نے رو کر کہا الوداع. جس سے دری تھی تمہیں وہ گھڑی آ گئی. دیکھو چاروں طرف تیرگی چھا گئی تیرگی چھا گئی. دشت پر ہال میں شام ہونے کو ہے لو مسافر چلا. الوداع 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 الوداع. رن کو جاتے ہوئے سر جھکائے ہوئے شہ نے رو کر کہا الوداع 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 الوداع. آئے خیمے سے باہر جو مولا میرے بھائی بیٹے بھتیجے نہ کوئی نہ تھے. ہائے کوئی نہ تھے. ایک حسرت سے چاروں طرف دیکھ کر شہ نے رو کر کہا الوداع 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 الوداع.
یا حسین
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 یا حسین.
پر محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا خاتم النبيين والمرسلين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين سيد المرسلين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا سيدنا علي. السلام عليك يا رحمة الله. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك يا السلام عليك يا باقر المسلمين. السلام عليك يا جعفر الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى الكاظم. السلام عليك يا علي بن صلى الله. السلام عليك يا جواد الأئمة. السلام عليك يا أحمد الأئمة. السلام عليك يا حسن السيد. السلام عليك يا حجة بن حسن. نسأل الله تعالى فرجه. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم كن لوليك
الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل الساعة. عليا محافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على. There will be another question and answer session today, so if brothers and sisters want to sit down, they can sit down. If they have any questions, no cards will be passed out shortly. By Muhammad wa Muhammad salawat.
But if you are staying or you could go, so it's up to you. Okay.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. سلامت بشید خدا حافظ ان شاء الله. موفق باشید.
خیلی خوشحال شدم. پسر خیلی خوشحال شدم وقتی فارسی حرف زدی.
خدا حافظ. سلامت باشید.
سلام بدونم. خیلی ممنون. زنده باشید ان شاء الله.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We'll begin with the questions that have been written. It says, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow for the torture of the Ahlul Bayt to reach such a severity during and after the events of Karbala? Why did He allow for the horses to trample the Imam, for Bibi Sakina's earrings to be torn from her, for the lady's hijab to be snatched? Why didn't He stop from this from happening when the story of Karbala would be told as long as the bodies survived? Thank you. So remember last night we discussed that there are certain things in our control, there are many things that are not in our control. The way that the universe is created, in which we live in, for us to have free will, it means that our actions must have consequences, and for Allah not to intervene in that. If one of you right now was to take out a knife and pierce some person's body next to you, they would bleed. Just because they're innocent doesn't mean Allah would stop it. It is not the role of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove free will and the consequences of free will from dunya. Otherwise there would be no point living. If it was the case that Allah will stop bad things from happening and make good things happen, then the purpose of creation becomes irrelevant. The reason we're here is so that we can become complete beings and show our true sides. And that cannot happen without free will. Otherwise, why would the Prophet ﷺ become martyred? Why would Fatima Zahra Salamullah become martyred? People for which the universe was created. This is because of free will. I repeat, as I do every night, that if the answers that I give that are short are not enough, please come back for more explanation, and I'm more than happy to do so. It's just that I don't want to take other people's times. What is your opinion on Shia Sunni marriages? Thank you. So firstly, I would say my opinion is irrelevant. What matters is the opinion of the Ahlul Bayt, the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the ruling is that if you fear becoming deviant from the truth of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, if you fear that you may be moved away from the straightened path because of the views of the other person, then you should not enter it. And that's just it's not just marriage, by the way, it's any friendship. Even living in the West, if you fear in the West that by staying here you cannot keep your iman, then you have to move. You must move. It's not a choice. So whether it's marriage, friendship, university, college, wherever it may be. You must be able to preserve your deen. And the best way to preserve your deen is knowledge. If you're more knowledgeable than the other people, then you'll be able to argue with them. Shiism is the religion of discussions and logic and understanding. Many people will not be able to answer your questions. Does not mean that Shiism is not able to answer the questions. It means that that person is not able to ask the questions. Carry on asking until you find the answers and you're convinced. What happens to people who died before Islam? They are judged on their own religion. So the ummah of Musa alayhi salam, Jews, would have to had abided by the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam, and Jesus the same thing, Isa alayhi salam. Salam, you mentioned jealousy in your lecture. Sometimes we get inspired by looking at what people have that we don't. What is this? Difference between jealousy and envy. Jealousy, so we have hasad and we have qibta. Qibta is a good thing, hasad is a bad thing. Qibta is when you see someone that has something and you wish to have it and you want to better yourself for it. This is a good thing. Jealousy is when you see someone have it and you don't want them to have it and you want you to have it. It's very different. Jealousy is you see someone have something nice, you wish that they don't have it and you have it. So you don't want something good for them. Whereas if you want it for them and for yourself, that's not a bad thing. I moved to Iowa in August. There is no mosque nearby. What are the things that I can do to keep my spiritual connection? I think nowadays there are centers close by everywhere. If there isn't one, then the internet. MashaAllah, nowadays there is channels everywhere popping up and people are very active on social media. So there's always a plan, there's always a place where you can do things like this. And I think, again, education is key. Try to educate yourself through listening to lectures, reading books, memorizing ahadith, and the Holy Quran, inshallah. Why were most grand jurists before the Islamic Revolution not in favor of the Wilayat Faqih, such as Ayatollah Khoy? So Wilayat Faqih is a fiqh issue, which different Maraja have different understandings of the extent of which. It's not a case of whether you're favor or against, it's the extent of it. So even Sayyid al-Khoy rahmatullah alayh accepted Wilayat Faqih to a certain degree. For example, if a wali does not have, if a faqih does not have wilayah, then he cannot take khums. So the circle of that wilayah, according to some jurists, is very limited. To other jurists, is as big as the Imams alayhi salam. This is a matter for the jurists. When a person becomes a mujtahid, they have their mabani, they have their rulings. Again, I'm answering everything briefly. It doesn't mean I don't want to answer. You can come back to me and ask more if you want. According to Quran, interest, riba is haram. However, some scholars say if you earn interest on money lent to non-Muslims, such as earning interest. Yes, so giving interest to people is haram. Taking interest, you can take it from non-Muslims. You're not allowed to take it from Muslims. So again, giving interest is haram, full stop. Taking interest, you can take from non-Muslims. With regards to loans and mortgages and credit cards, if you want, I can explain further. But again, I don't want to widen the circle if people are not interested. If Sunnis do not deny the tragedy of Karbala, why do they not commemorate the way Shias do as intensely? Because we said this the other day, that regardless of what they believe about Yazid and Muawiyah, at the end of the day, they believe this is the Khalifa. Yazid was the Khalifa of Muslimin in their eyes. So if they dispute that, then they have to dispute their entire ideology. And if you dispute the idea that Yazid was Khalifa, then you have to dispute Muawiyah, and then Uthman, and Umar, and Abu Bakr. When praying to Allah and asking Him for help or making dua, what is the correct verbiage to use also to help from Imams? There is no correct way. The correct way is the one that makes you humble. The correct way is having wudu, is sitting in front of Qibla. The correct way is making sure that you are not checking your phone for messages every 2 minutes. The correct way is removing impure thoughts from your mind by practice. Salam, please give us the names of book titles in Arabics that every Shia should read regarding Ahlul Bayt. Oh, this is a good question. If you speak Arabic, then there are plenty of books. Begin with Tawheed al-Saduq rahmatullah alayh. Tawheed al-Saduq is a book of compilation. In fact, I think Tawheed al-Saduq has been translated to Farsi and English. With regards to rawayat to do with Tawheed, what Tawheed means, how Tawheed means the Wilayah of Amir al-Mu'minin salam. That's number one. What we mentioned before, the book of Aqa'id al-Imamiyya by Sheikh al-Mudaffar rahmatullah alayh. Haqqul Yaqeen, Aynul Yaqeen, the books of Allah Majlisi rahmatullah alayh. Allah Majlisi was one of the greatest scholars, if not the greatest Shia scholar that ever lived. The books written by Marhum Allah Majlisi, try to read them as much as you can. Haqqul Yaqeen, one is Allah Majlisi, another one is Marhum Sayyid al-Shubbar. These are very good books. Tafsir al-Burhan, the tafsirs that are to do with the rawayat. Always recite tafsir al-Quran that is from the source, which is the Ayyam alayhi salam, not Mr. X or Y. It makes no sense to go to anybody when you have the Ahlul Bayt. Was the tragedy of Karbala planned by Allah before creation of this world? It was not planned by Allah because there's free will, but Allah knew of it. Allah's knowledge is of everything. So Allah knows what will happen tomorrow. Allah knows what will happen in a year's time, in 10 years' time. But the ilm of Allah, the knowledge of Allah does not affect our actions in any way. We've said this before. Some people think that the fact that Allah knows what's going to happen is somehow going to affect us. What I sometimes use as an analogy is that when a teacher has students in their class, sometimes from the beginning of the semester, the teacher knows who's going to fail or who's not going to fail. The knowledge of the teacher who's going to fail does not affect their failure. If my family is close-minded to Islam, how do I change this? It's a very general question. What do you mean by close-mindedness? But generally speaking, with your actions, by being kind to them, by being patient. Best way to tabligh, to attract someone to something, is by your akhlaq, by trying to be the best you can, so that they okay, so it says can everybody please be quiet because there are certain people that can't hear me because of the noises. I'll try to speak louder as well. What is your opinion on men wanting to split finances 50-50 with their wife, requiring her to work and help with the bills? So again, we mentioned this before previously. It is job of the man to provide. الرجال قوامون على النساء in the Quran means that the rajul, the man, is responsible for taking care of the woman when it comes to finances and putting a roof over her head. So religiously, there is absolutely no duty on a woman to do anything apart from the one thing that they've agreed from the beginning of the marriage. Apart from that, there is nothing compulsory upon her. Everything else is part of the agreement. That doesn't mean it's haram for her to do anything else, but it's not compulsory upon her to do any of this. And usually the best way to do these things is have a discussion out and talk about the pros and cons of everything. And understand that if you decide that you want more of this world and better finances, and you think you will achieve that by more money, then a lot of times you're wrong. The reason I'm saying you're wrong is experience. The reason I'm saying this is that experience has shown you may have more money with two people working, but the quality of life is not the same. Be content with something far smaller and with the wife taking care of the children and raising them rather than them being sent to nurseries and schools and random people taking care of them. Try to keep safe the household and the loving atmosphere of a household, not by increasing your worldly desires. Instead, try to be content. The more content you are, the happier you'll get. The more you want, the less you'll have. Again, I'm being brief. Come back to me if you want more explanations on any of these things. Is it reasonable to doubt the halal status of meat served by other Muslims or in masjid events? Should we investigate further? When it comes to meat, if you're in doubt whether it's halal or haram, then it's haram. When you doubt that a chicken or an animal is being slaughtered correctly, then you cannot eat it. However, if it is sold in the land of Muslimin, in Suq al-Muslimin, in a market where Muslimin are selling it, then you're allowed to eat it. 2, if you get it from a hand of a Muslim, so in a mosque or in someone's house, in a mu'min's house, and they serve you, not only should you not investigate, but if you investigate at times it becomes haram. Why? Because you're disrespecting the person who's invited you. If they're a religious person and you know them to be abiding by the laws of Islam, you shouldn't think that they will possibly give you something that is not halal. If a mosque is serving you, inshallah, the person serving you has deen, the person fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sometimes doubts come from shaitan. Although it's good to do precaution. So rather than tell people this meat is haram, don't eat this, don't eat that, you don't eat it. You become a vegetarian for ihtiyat purposes. That's a very good thing to do. Precaution is always good. But it's very different telling other people that this mosque serves this or this restaurant serves this. That's not your business. You don't want to eat it, you don't eat it. Keep your mouth closed, have bread, have yogurt, have something vegetarian, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you. Salam, what is the punishment for ruining the reputation of someone who is innocent? There is 2 things Yawm al-Qiyamah people have to answer for. Haqqul nas, haqqullah. Haqqul nas is this. Haqqullah is what? Prayers, fasting, zakat. Haqqul nas is when you take someone else's right. For example, you backbite behind someone. You say this person is this person is that. You ruin their reputation. Until that person is forgiven you on the day of judgment, you cannot go forward. So it's much easier to try to get them to forgive you in this dunya, before you die, before you have to do it in akhirah. And ruining someone's reputation is a grave sin. So if you can get to them and request them to forgive you, then you should do so. Because on the day of judgment, you'll see that every sin that you've committed will now be written for you from them. So that person, God forbid, that you talked against, their sins were written on your a'mal. And your good deeds you've done to ziyarah, you pay sadaqah, all of it will be written for them. Hence you always see the people that are backbiting, the people that want bad things for other people, they're not happy in dunya. What is the difference between Hajj and Umrah? Okay, this is a simple question. Umrah is done throughout the year apart from the period of the Qa'dah and the Hajj, the 2 months of Hajj period. Hajj has an Umrah in it. So when you do Hajj, I'll be as brief as I can. I talk fast anyway, but I'm going to talk even faster. When you go to Hajj, the first part of it is you go become Muharram. So for example, if you're going from Mecca, then the Miqat, the Masjid Shajara, you put your towels on, you say Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata lakal mulk, la sharika laka Labbaik, and you become Muharram. When you become Muharram for Umrah of Hajj. When it's Umrah, there is no a'mal afterwards. If it's Hajj, then after you've done the Umrah to Hajj Tamattu', then you take your clothes off and you become normal again. You're no longer Muharram. And then on the 9th of the Hajj, you go and you become Muharram again from Masjid al-Haram. Then you go to Arafat. After Arafat, where you spend the day until the evening, you pray your Maghrib prayers, then you go to Muzdalifah, you're there till Fajr. You pray Fajr and then you walk towards Jamarat. You hit the shaitan and then you kill your sheep. Then you shave your head, or taqsir. After you've done that, then you are halal to do certain things, but you cannot have women or smell, as in perfume. That will end when you finish everything else, which is tawaf of tamattu', tawaf al-nisa, and sa'i. Inshallah, that's clear. Salam, Sheikh. Isn't there an ayah that says وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى, but this does not say giving or taking riba. It says that, yes. So حَرَّمَ الرِّبَى is to do with people that their mal has a hurmah, has a respect. When you are at war with someone or someone else that is not within your religion, there is no respect for their amwal. Their dealings are very different. That's number one. Number two, the ayah gives a complete outlook on the riba. There are exceptions to riba. For example, there is no riba between son and father. So to every rule there are exceptions. So in this particular case, you can take interest from a non-Muslim. You cannot give it. There are ways that you can, if you need to make a transaction such as a mortgage or a loan or a credit card. There are many ways to do that. One of the ways is take the money without having the intention to go into that contract, and then they take it from your bank account without that intention. There are other ways, such as, for example, agreeing with them that you want to pay not interest but money towards whatever cost that they have, not as interest. Is there any other questions? We finished? Yes. So because tonight, I think, or tomorrow night is the last night. I think tonight may be the last Q&A. I don't know if tomorrow night we'll get to not. I'm going to stay back, and if tomorrow night as well I'm here, I'll stay back as well. So I'm going to stay back for a little bit tonight. For anyone that has any personal questions, they can come see me for the next 5-10 minutes. Inshallah, I'll be at your service. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And whilst we're here, can we please recite a Fatih for the marhumin, please? Bismillah.